And the Republicans better not wimp and back down. They better stand up, because the American people will back up the Republicans Now, let me remind the Republicans of something. Since 2010, the American voters all across this country have turned out more than 1,300 Democrats. Do you understand me? Do you hear me? The American people all over the country have voted out more than 1,300 Democrats at all levels of government. In other words, the American people are saying, Republicans, GOP, that they want conservative thought, they want conservative governance. They want this country protected. They want their lives, their neighborhoods, their families protected. They don't want to have to worry about going to some concert and then not coming home because you let some jihadist in here because his family was in refugee status. They got a gun, an AK-47, and shot up the concert hall. Let me tell you, if that happens, you politicians in this country that are already elected, that allow it to happen, you are done. Oh, no. Don't even think about that you're going to go and retire and be some sort of powerful lobbyist or something. You won't make it. I'm telling you right now, the militias in this country, the American people, the constitutionalists, they are going to hang you. Because this is something that you have been warned about, told about. You know what the American people are about and where they stand on this. They don't want it. And if you let it happen, there is no place in this country where you are going to be safe. I'm telling you right now, I'm not the one that's threatening you. I'm telling you the American people are not going to stand for this. They're not going to stand for a Paris to happen in this country. They are not going to stand for another 9/11/2001 in this country. Do you understand that, GOP? Look, if this were 20 years ago, the American people might be in a little different mindset. But this has been going on since 2001 at the minimum. What was it, 93, when we had the first attack on the World Trade Center? And we sort of nothing really happened, but, we'll catch him, blah, blah, blah. So we caught the sheikh that was responsible and all that kind of stuff. We Americans went about and then 2001 hit. And the entire world for Americans changed. And ever since then, we have been in this dynamic mode of terroristic threats all over the country, including in this country. We've had terrorism in this country since 2001. Well, was it the most recent successful terrorist act was the Boston Marathon bombing a couple of years ago? Oh, no. And now we're seeing Paris. They had open borders allowing these people to come in. They were saying, come on, you can have fun here. You can live here, live in peace. We'll even give you some towns and enclaves. You can have Sharia law and Sharia courts. We can live in peace. We won't bother you. And then they did this to Paris. And a socialist president shut the borders and said no more. And now that same president is saying he is begging Putin and Obama, the United States and Russia, to team up, to cooperate and wipe ISIS out. The American people have turned out Democrats. The Democrats have lost more than 1,300 seats from local to federal level since 2010. 1,300. And you GOPers want to tell us, the American people, that we're too extreme? Oh, hell no, we're not. We're telling you what we want. We don't want Black Lives Matter because that's a farce. This whole notion that these stupid, idiotic, wimpy, mamby-pamby, spoiled brat college students need a freaking safe space. Well, let me tell you something. If you get Al-Qaeda or ISIS or ISIL or Taliban or whoever the hell they want to call themselves in this country, there won't be a safe space, not even on college campus. In fact, they'll come for you stupid, idiotic liberals first. And if you don't believe me, what do you think they just did to the French? If you're a liberal, you need to wake up. And if you're a Republican, if you are a GOPer, you better wake up, because the American people have been telling you since 2010 what they have wanted, and you haven't delivered. So, Representative, Speaker Paul Ryan, you better be paying attention to these people. Hell, even my Democratic governor gets the point. He's joined, 26, 27 Republican governors who are saying that they don't want any more Syrian refugees? Oh, yeah. Maggie, I know she's going to be running against Kelly Ayotte for the Senate seat that Miss Ayotte, Senator Ayotte, currently holds in 2016. I get that. So, but she understands. Look, she's pandering to the right, because she knows what the right wants. And she's going to need some of their votes in order to take the seat away from Kelly Ayotte. So understand, you have a Democratic governor who's seeking another elected office in a still relatively conservative state. She understands that she understands what the Republicans, what conservatives, what constitutionalists want. So she understands that she's going to have to make a stance against this with all the Republican governors if she has any chance of getting that seat of Kelly Ayotte's. So you Republicans in Congress, look to New England in order to see a Democratic governor of a purple state understand what the Republicans want. We want this immigration nonsense stopped. We want the president put in check. We want the borders closed. We want our military strengthened. We want our law enforcement agencies in this country to get the due respect and understand that they need the proper funding, one, to vet the personnel that they're trying to hire, to make sure all these people are well trained, and to make sure that they have the proper equipment to do their job properly and safely. And let me tell you something. When you start vetting them properly, and you start training them properly, and you start giving them the equipment that they need in order to do their job, you're gonna drop 75% of all this bad cop crap. Because the bad cops will weed themselves out. Plain and simple. Now, I want people to fully understand, because I'm getting tired of having to explain this about my position on police officers. I'm so over explaining to people. So pay attention. I am a constitutionalist and a law and order type of guy. I believe that in this country we have made a mistake going from upholding the law to enforcing the law by adding so many damn laws that nearly every interaction that the police have with the general public is negative because we have too many laws. And my point is that whenever the police are in an area or at a time, when you say a festival or the King Pumpkin Festival or open Main Street, Main Street, they have parades and stuff, and you see people talking and joking and having fun with police officers, believe me, most cops like that interaction too. They do not like always being negatively impacted by society. They don't like having to always deal negatively with society. Granted, you have a vast minority who get on a power trip They can be weeded out. The vast majority are not like that. They are trying to uphold the law, but a lot of times they're being forced to enforce the law if they're going to keep their job. Which is why you might get pulled over for having your license plate light out while a cop cruiser drives by with a headlight out. Because they have to try to find anything and everything that is wrong with your vehicle to enforce the law so they can give you a ticket. They're being pushed into being revenue generators. That's not their job. That's not what they were designed to do. The cops were designed to investigate real crime and to catch the bad guys who committed the real crime and to make sure that they stood trial. That's their job. And these guys need all the help, and girls, they need all the help that they can possibly get to do that job, which means they need fewer laws to enforce. And in order to get fewer laws, we have to have people in elected office who are going to repeal a lot of these stupid, redundant, ridiculous, liberty-stealing laws. You want to tell me that a police officer enforcing a seatbelt law is protecting society? No, he's not. He's raising revenue for the state. They've just turned police officers into something like IRS agents. They're revenue generators. And that, my friends, is going to lead to negative interactions with otherwise law-abiding citizens. People are frustrated because they're being forced to obey all these stupid, ridiculous laws that have nothing to do with public safety, while our senior officials in Washington, D.C. and in state capitals all across this country are ignoring the main law called the Constitution, letting our borders stay open, letting potential criminals and terrorists into this country, and then admonishing the American people when we say we've had enough and don't want them anymore. And then lecturing us as to what the American people should be doing. No. They got it backwards. They got it so backwards. You see, the government is not to be lecturing the people. The people is to be lecturing the government, because this is government by the people, of the people, for the people. Plain and simple. Always has been, always should be. So let me be clear again. I am a law and order type of person. I believe in upholding the law. I do not believe in enforcing it. Two different things. I believe in sticking to the Constitution, the supreme law of the land, and then your state's individual constitution. And if a law does not protect society, seatbelt laws do not, then it should be judged as being unconstitutional and struck from the books. And police officers should not have to worry about ever enforcing that law again. Let me tell you something. If you bring in these Syrians or any other Middle Eastern refugees, I'm telling you right now, there will be blood on the streets of America, and it is going to be Americans exacting their flesh. Because they're not going to stand for their neighborhood, their children, their grandchildren to be endangered when it could be so easily prevented. Telling you what's going to happen. It will not be pretty. And you know what? If you don't listen to me, GOP, if you're not listening to the American people, and you guys get voted out and we get a Democrat as president, it's going to be your fault.